All of our tutors, they're all the same age as our students. So the dynamic is not a teacher-student relationship. It's a friend-friend. From that 14 hours, around 50% is them talking about non-school related stuff. And that bond is what makes it so powerful when they actually go to get homework help.
Yeah.
They actually like enjoy listening to the tutor, they're receptive, and it builds that long retention.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. Welcome back to the show, guys. Got a special guest for you guys today. He's up to something big. Amin Shaykho. How's it going, man?
How's it going, man?
You're about to revolutionize the education space, right?
Dude, it's been a grind, but yes, sir, that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, so I found you online. You know, you just finished that first raise, I think, when I found you. And now it's been some time, and you've really grown the company very quickly, man.
It's been a wild ride, honestly. The thing is, for us, once we discovered what actually students want and built a product that they enjoy using, it's been growing like crazy since then.
Yeah, we were talking outside, and, you know, we probably have some traumatic memories from getting tutored as kids. And I feel like that whole space in general, it's not something you really want. It's forced upon you as a kid.
Yeah, like just imagine, like, I'm sure everybody in the audience listening, like, what was your experience? Either your parents or your teacher forced you to go get tutored, or you just try to escape, right? And for us, we were like, what if we can build something that kids actually want to spend time on? And that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, my mom spent like $5K on SAT tutoring for me when I was a kid, and my score went up like barely, like 20, 40 points, because I didn't care about it. You know what I mean? But I feel like when you align the interests of the student and the teacher, there's some growth opportunity.
100%. Like kids, Gen Z, especially nowadays, like if they're not motivated to do something, they're just going to sit there with their eyes closed. They're not going to be attention. What goes in through this ear comes out of the other ear. And so for us, we knew, like, if we can build something where they actually want to use it themselves, because when Gen Z, and I keep saying Gen Z because most of our students right now are high school and college kids, if they're passionate about something, that's it. Like they're going to put in their full effort, right? Yeah. And so we did that through many things. Like all of our tutors, they're all the same age as our students. So the dynamic is not a teacher-student relationship. It's a friend-friend. Yeah. So it's like me with my best friend, for example, talking. And, you know, on average, our students spend like 14 hours a quarter in a school quarter, so 3 months, talking to their tutor. From that 14 hours, around 50% is them talking about non-school related stuff. So NFL, XFL, what are you doing for the Halloween party, right? And that bond is what makes it so powerful when they actually go to get homework help, right? Yeah, they actually like enjoy listening to the tutor, they're receptive, and it builds that long retention, something that we have and a lot of these players can't do.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, you've really seemed to crack the code with tutoring to make it an enjoyable experience for the user. What's the growth been like year over year?
Anywhere between 3 to 5x year over year growth. So we launched in 2020. You know, the pandemic was wild. Like for those who don't, you know, really, I guess in the education space, when the pandemic hit, schools saw GPAs just going down because kids just lost access to all the resources. They were stuck at home. Zoom classes, like, you know, my co-founder was finishing up Zoom school. He would literally be sleeping through his class. He had this thing that would move his cursor so he could stay online, but he wasn't listening to the lecture, right? Yeah. And my third co-founder, Danny, was like, I think 17 or 18 when we started. So we were all students, and we saw grades going down. And also we saw the surge of social media. All the kids were on TikTok the whole time, right? And we were like, you know, there's a huge opportunity here. These kids are all struggling in school. Everybody's on social media. What if we can kind of do something with it?
Yeah. So you got a really young co-founding team.
Yeah, we all made Forbes 30 under 30 when we were all under 23. I think I was 23. My co-founder was 21. And then my last one was 19. we're on the youngest Forbes list and the education list.
Wow. Yeah. That's dope. What's the process to get on there? What's that like?
We had a lot. Once like we started getting traction, a lot of people started nominating for us. And then when people nominate you, they reach out to you and they say, hey, tell us a bit more about you. And, you know, honestly, we just told them what we were doing, and they were super impressed. And what they really liked about us was how we cracked social media, because we were able to use social media to turn a concept, which was tutoring, from boring and hated by kids to being loved. Yeah. Like literally like 50 million to 100 million students, or just people interacting with our socials every month, right? And so that kind of reception to a tutoring company was unheard of. Yeah. We were actually the first education company in the world to hit 1 million followers on TikTok
Wow.
in under 3 months.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
And what was the content strategy like there? Were you
Shout out to today's sponsor, Rocket Money. Guys, you ever feel like money's just flying out of your account? Well, this app might be able to help you because there's something called subscriptions that are eating at your bank account every single month. And there's apps you don't know about. Delivery apps, streaming services, you name it. You're probably getting charged a monthly fee by a lot of companies and you don't even know. You can see all your subscriptions in one place on the Rocket Money app, and you can cancel all the unwanted subscriptions with one tap. They'll even try to get you a refund for the last couple of months and negotiate your bills to be even lower by up to 20%. All you got to do is take a picture of your bill, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that basically finds and cancels unwanted subscriptions. They help you monitor your spending, and they help you lower your bills. Rocket Money has been a great experience for me personally. They've saved me money, hundreds of dollars on bills. They were able to go through all of my credit cards, all of my bank statements, see what I was paying for on a monthly basis. And I found a ton of stuff that I don't even use, honestly. I had an Xbox Game Pass that was being charged monthly. I don't even play games. That one was years old. And they also lowered some of my bills. My phone bill and my Wi-Fi bill were pretty high. They were over $150 a month, and they were able to cut down on those prices. So all in all, shout out to Rocket Money, great product. So stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/DSH. That's rocketmoney.com/DSH. Link will be in the description below.
repurposing other people's content to grow?
No, so our content strategy was unique. It's also something that nobody was doing before, and a lot of big companies model what they're doing now. We had a lot of big companies actually reach out to us to learn about what we're doing. What we did was, it's a 10-90 rule. 10% of our videos would promote our product. 90% were in the niche of education, but had nothing to do with our product. So we're education, but who the hell wants to see tutoring videos, right? So what we do is anything under education is fair play. So what's fun under education? Well, maybe teaching you how to look at your phone to see if your girlfriend is cheating on you by deleting her messages, or how to send a Snapchat or open up a Snapchat without showing that you read it, for example, right? Or how you get 50% off shopping at Target. So we do life hacks that kids love. And by definition, right, if they love it, they're going to engage, they're going to follow you. And every 10 videos, an ad promoting our product is going to come out. And they're like, oh, like, I love this brand. I love this page. Maybe I should go look at their app, right? And even when we do our ads, they don't look like a normal ad. Like our most viral ad got us like 20 to 30,000 downloads, 4 million views, like 20 to 30,000 downloads, 4 million views. And it was basically one of my co-founders, right? We put Chick-fil-A sauce on an onion, took a huge bite. You could hear the crunch. And then he does this and it segues to 3 apps that will help you with your homework. And in between, we strategically put our own app. So nobody knew it was an ad.
Wow.
And that shot us to like number 2 on the charts. And then investors start pouring in. And that actually was, you know, one of the biggest catalysts on where we are today.
That's awesome. Yeah. Speaking of investors, well, what did you learn that first raise? Because that's something that's not taught. So you were just, you know, it just sort of happened and you had no experience, right?
Yeah, I do. Like literally, like I was working at Apple as a software engineer. I was like the youngest engineer there. And like, keep in mind, like when you're that young and in software, you really have no idea how the VC world works. And all of a sudden, like we never reached out first to investors. We had investors reach out to us because they saw us on the charts. We're like number 2 or 3. And they're like, hey, we'd love to invest in you. And imagine being a 20-year-old that sees that. You're like, oh my God, a few $1 million about to come into my bank. Like, this is awesome, right? And so it's like you think it's a perfect world, when in reality, when you start talking to them, investors are notorious for leading you on and then just like putting you on red, ignoring you, right? And we, at that point, that forced us to think about investing, because we were like at that point, we started to grow fast too. And we're like, well, now we need to start actually put effort here. And so I literally, like, me and my co-founder all bought a bunch of like VC books, started to read how that works. And even after reading it, to be honest, we like, it wasn't like, nothing taught us more than actually being rejected by investors. Like we started to reach out to investors, they reached out to us, and a lot of them would say, oh, we love your product, this is the best thing ever. And then just never reply back to us again, right? And that went on for a few months. And eventually, like, obviously, and this is completely normal, right? You probably get like 100 no's before you get 1 yes, right? Unless you're literally building the next Apple. And it's in this space, it's really about showing traction. So, you know, when we started getting the reach, we didn't have much traction, right? So they were like, okay, come back to us when you have bigger numbers. And so we really started doubling our sales every single month, until eventually an investor comes in. He's been sourcing companies from Y Combinator, and he's like, not a single company is approaching education the way you guys are doing it. You guys are adding gamification. You're making a fun social learning app, and no one actually understands the vision. And more importantly, it was on the app. like it's an app, it's not a website. And he understood that kids are on their phones and social media is tied, you know, to your phone.
Yeah.
So we have this whole funnel there. And he was like, I'm gonna invest in you guys. And this was like a few months after our first rejection. But in between that process, like there were times where I thought, damn, like this is never gonna happen, right? You kind of lose hope.
Yeah.
But it's part of the game. And now every time I get a rejection, I'm happy because it's literally one step to the next game type of thing. It's like if you don't take an L, if you don't fail, if you don't lose, you're not working hard enough as a founder. And a lot of founders expect like it's all gonna be just a journey going up, but you don't understand, like, you know, we made it on Forbes, but the night after we took a huge L somewhere else, right? So it's always ups and downs, but that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, it's a numbers game, man. And you got over 1 billion views, right, on TikTok?
Yeah, dude, across our channels, 1 billion views.
Dude, that's insane. And the thing is, a lot of people can get views, but they can't monetize.
Yep.
But you guys figured out that the more downloads, the more money you could make.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like my co-founder, Marwan, he's so data driven. So what we do is we look at the videos, right? We like 7 million views, for example, on one video, or 1 million views, and then we look at the quality of the conversions, right? And at that point, like we really chase like which video is gonna get us the paying customer, right? And we've optimized our app so much to the point where if you're like an 11th grader in high school or a senior in college, you're gonna get a whole different app experience because your psychology and how you think is different.
Yeah.
And all those are type of things that took like conversion rate from like, for example, starting off at like 9% to 15%. 20% and up, right? From like downloading all the way to pay, right? And we kept on bringing it up. And our attention to detail is what made us actually be able to translate views to dollars.
Yeah.
Most people can't do that.
No. So you're all about the optimization. And I think that's something Amazon does really well too. If you're a Prime customer, their numbers are insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a paying customer. How did you find good app developers? That's something people struggle with.
I'm fortunate enough where I studied computer science, so I was a software engineer. I worked at Apple, and like when I was at Apple, like I did a lot of cool projects working with leadership. Like I literally for everybody who has an iPhone on iMessage, if you know when you hold on to reply in a thread, me and two people pitched that to Craig Federici, who's right under the CTO.
You came up with that?
Yeah, he's the
Holy
CTO,
crap.
and we actually had to convince them because at Apple, like a lot of the leadership were a bit older. They don't understand that Gen Z like spend a lot of time chatting.
Yeah,
and I basically told them like, hey, like all these kids are spending all their time texting on Instagram and Snapchat DMs. Nobody's on iMessage DMs. We need to make this feel more home, right? And so we pitched it, and literally the next year it comes out on the iOS. But the point is, like, I had that experience, right? So when I went to go and hire engineers, no one could BS me. They come in for an interview saying, yo, I can build a good app. Okay, cool. Here's a quick problem. Can you solve this? Get out of here.
Yeah.
Next person.
Wow.
And we had very high standards, and it was hard for us to actually like find people and source them. So my co-founder actually built this robot called Surjata, and it actually has a whole LinkedIn profile. Like his name is Surjata, and he reaches out to people 24/7.
Really?
And what he also does is he interviews them. So we built this virtual interviewing process where it basically takes all of our problems, asks them in real time, it records them, and using some AI will give us a score. And if they make it through all those rounds, then they come to me for the final round. And we automated that, and we hired like really good engineers.
Holy crap, that's insane. So you used an AI to interview people.
And it worked really well because at the end of the day, I made it interview me, and I'm a technical founder. So I'm not like some like business guy trying to run technical. I'm a technical founder, so I understand, right? And so like I knew that this thing will work.
That's so cool, dude.
Yeah.
How did you get that job at Apple at such a young age?
So I think they gave me the offer when I was like 19.
Jeez.
I actually graduated. I studied at the University of Washington Computer Science. I graduated in 2 years. So
How'd you do that?
So in high school, I took a lot of like AP and like college classes.
Right.
And then I did this program where you actually could do 2 years at a community college while you're at high school. So you graduate high school with an associate's degree and a high school diploma. So then when you go into the university, you skip the first 2 years and you go to the third year.
Wow.
So I was literally like, what is it? An 18-year-old, like just chilling with a bunch of 21 to 22-year-olds. And then like, that was hella hard because imagine you go, instead of like easing up from 100, 200, 300, I went into some like math theory where they're teaching you how to like basically solve rocket science, right? And so that was pretty stressful. But then like I interviewed with Apple actually. Apple has always been my favorite company. I have everything Apple.
Yeah.
And I interviewed them, I think it was like in the fall of 2017.
Are you interested in coming on the Digital Social Hour podcast as a guest? Well, click the application link below in the description of this video. We are always looking for cool stories, cool entrepreneurs to talk to about business and life. Click the application link below, and here's the episode, guys.
And, you know, I made it like halfway through and then like I'm sorry, like we don't think we're going to be able to hire you. You didn't make the qualifications. I was really bummed out about it. But I think like some word went inside that I'm very passionate. I have an entrepreneur background. A few months later, I get a phone call that literally all it said is like, hey, do you want to come to Cupertino, Apple Park? Like Apple is based in Cupertino.
Yeah.
You want to come and interview us? So we skipped like everything that come talk to 6 people. So they put me in like an interview. I talked to 6 people back to back, a bunch of complicated questions, stuff like that. And then I go home and on the way back, I get like a call from the director. He's like, we love you. You want to accept this offer?
Wow.
And they give me this offer literally like, I think 2 weeks before I go a full-time job. And keep in mind, by the way, when companies hire software engineers out of college, it's usually they give you an offer like 3 to 6 months before you graduate. I was getting this offer like the day I was graduating, right?
Yeah.
So it was literally last second. I wasn't even expecting it. So like, I tell my parents, oh geez, I'm leaving to California. I was in Seattle at that point. I'm gonna work at Apple, and then I fly down and I pull up, and I was like 19 to turn 20, and they're like, what the hell? How young are you, bro? All of our interns are like 22, 23. Like, where do you come from? And it turns out I was actually the youngest person in the entire org.
Wow.
To ever work at Apple.
That's
and
insane.
so I did that for 2 years. So it was like 2018 till 2020.
Yeah.
And the pandemic hit. And I'm sure the story, that's how we kind of like our rise to success was from the pandemic,
Right.
because education collapsed. And we were actually I was building the startup while I was working at Apple and while I was at school. So it was like, it was a side project, right? And even through Apple, and my entire vision was the moment I secure funding, I'm going in full time.
Right.
Because I'm a risk adverse person, right?
Yeah.
But I work really hard. So I don't just like work 40 hours at Apple. I work 40 hours at Apple, then another 40 hours at my startup. So I was working 80 hours every single week.
Damn.
Until that moment happened where I can go full time.
So you weren't sleeping.
Dude, I had no life, bro. I missed out on the typical stuff. Everyone goes out and parties and stuff like that. They're all doing this. I'm like, dude, like I'm building this thing. It's gonna change the world.
Yeah.
And I found people who like the team behind me, that all same mentality, and it was hard. Don't get me wrong, like, but you know.
Yeah. I don't think you missed much, man. I mean, I got through that phase quick too. It's nothing special.
Yeah. And honestly, once you kind of make it, now you get to enjoy. Sometimes you have like, I'm sure you have a lot of like, it's like work hard, play hard type of mentality,
Yeah.
right? So it's good because you don't want to work too much, because then you lose creativity, you become too stressed. You need that balance in your life.
Yeah, I had burnout. I know you experienced it
Multiple
too.
times.
Young age, man, because you're just so locked in, but it adds up. Balls.
Adds up.
What did you learn from Apple working there 2 years? What did you learn about like corporate culture and things like that?
There's many things I learned in corporate culture, but the biggest thing in corporate is it's literally a chain of command type of thing. If you want to do something, it has to go all the way up, and that introduces a lot of delay. Things move slow.
Right.
Something that I could do in Apple in like 6 months, I could do in my own startup in 2 days. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a big company. They care about their image and stuff like that. But somebody as me, who's like an entrepreneur, like I've taught myself marketing, finance, everything, right? And that's who I am. I can't just do one thing as a software engineer all day and then just wait for somebody to give me an approval to build a feature, right? And
Yeah.
actually, that's why in Apple, like I came in as a software engineer, and within 3 months, my manager told me, dude, like we're gonna put you on special projects. Apple, it's called special projects, where basically like every year on the new iOS, they always introduce new features, and those are special projects because they're anonymous, right? And the cool thing about the special project is you're not just a software engineer. You have to deal with legal, with design, with marketing, because you have to know, like when you build a feature, can you market it well? Will it get you, like, is it good from a PR perspective, from a security perspective, right? And that's literally what a startup you do. You have to worry about everything. So I was working on those, right? And all that kind of taught me even better how to run a startup, because I was doing an Apple with real customers, real customer data, right?
Yeah.
Nothing like a school project, like, you know, in a business class where they tell you go, you know, here, make a fake startup and pitch it, right?
Yeah.
All that is BS. It really doesn't translate to the real world.
Nah. Would you say you learned more at Apple than 14 years of schooling?
Dude, what I learned in my 2 years at Apple is more than school. And what I learned at my startup is more than everything I've done in my life. Like, listen, there's still more to learn. Like, I'm still nowhere near where I want to be. But I feel like just me going through my startup world, if I were to kind of maintain just a corporate job, by the time I hit 40, maybe I won't even have learned what I learned at the age of like 24.
Right. Doing it on your own.
Yeah.
So what do you think can be improved in the education system for entrepreneurs and for business owners?
And that's exactly why we're in this education space, dude. Education is so far behind. You know, it's crazy. Like, you can trace back education. It's been almost the same for years, right? Nothing, you know, we have new phones every year, literally new cars every year, new shoes, everything. But why is education still the same? And you know what's crazy too is now with ChatGPT and AI, like we did a survey, like 40-50% of students are literally cheating through school because they realize, like, what's the point of me doing? So they will literally the whole class run through all their assignments through this ChatGPT, not even learn anything. In schools, politicians, we spoke to multiple politicians oh, we're gonna wait and see what happens, right? Like nobody's doing anything. Like this started off last year. To this day, nobody has done anything. So that's every single kid in their freshman year of school right now isn't learning anything, right?
Yeah.
Is that not crazy, right? Where like they're paying, what is it? In some cases you're paying $50,000 a year to basically just have a bot regurgitate the answers to submit in.
Yeah.
There's a lot of change that needs to happen there. I think we need a lot of young people to go in and impactful roles to be able to impact things in school and even in government, right? Because right now a lot of what they're trying to maintain is just things that don't matter anymore. Like, why are we still learning how to do cursive? Why are we still learning how to write an email? Look, I took one marketing class where they taught me how to write emails to sell your social media to clients or to like companies like Shopify or Target or something like that. I literally I've secured multiple like 5-figure deals with brands because I have my personal social media is pretty big.
Yeah.
I literally say, hey, comma on one line. Here's my rate. No sincerely Amin Shaykho, no format. It's very simple. That's how the real world works, right?
Yeah.
That stuff that they teach you is not relevant. They need to they need to go bring in industry leaders who've done it.
For sure.
Why is a business 101 professor teaching a class, but they haven't built anything that's more than 7 figures, for example, right? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
it's backwards.
And this is not an attack on all professors. There's a lot of good teachers. I've worked with a lot of great computer science teachers who have been amazing. A lot of business teachers, but this is a curriculum thing from the institution itself, nothing to do with the professors, because they're all forced to follow what is brought down to them. But there needs to be a change, and there's a lot of people advocating for that. Bill Gates, Elon Musk. There's a lot of people who are saying changes to be done.
For sure, dude. When I get those long emails, I don't even read them. I mean, it's obviously copy paste. Like, I don't care at that point. You're right, though. You got to keep it simple. I mean,
somebody like you, do you have the time to read, spend 60 minutes on email? No, you want to quick to the point. First line, what's it about?
Yeah, catch my attention. And if you do that, I'll read it. But otherwise, I could tell it's copy paste if it's 2 paragraphs,
Yeah.
I got detention in 10th grade for plagiarism.
Yeah.
And now every kid's doing it with ChatGPT. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah. And by the way, don't get me wrong, I talk about the school. I had a 4.0 through school. I had a full ride scholarship. So I know how school is. I'm not some guy who had a 1.0 trying to justify old school is bad. 4.0. Search up computer science at University of Washington, number 6 in the nation, right? I had a 4.0 until my last year. I ended up graduating with a 3.8, but very rigorous school, right?
Yeah.
So I know how academics works. I put in a lot of work. So I know both perspectives. And I'm coming in from that. I'm not coming in from an arrogant perspective.
Yeah. No, that's for someone in your shoes to say this about education. It really means something. Because if you had a 1.5.
At that point, I'm just justifying my laziness. But no, I literally worked hard.
Yeah. And do you think working that hard paid off?
Yeah. And I always say to everybody, ask me, how did you achieve what you do? I tell them I am not the smartest person in the room. I work hard. I will outwork anybody in the room.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. There was a lot of people who were 10 times smarter than me in my class, right?
Yeah.
They can solve the math problems faster, the physics problems faster. I'll just spend more time reading the textbook till I figure it out.
Yeah. They've actually done studies on this. People that, are smarter, have a higher IQ, they actually don't perform as well as people with a gifted range because they're just too smart. You know what I mean? They're like mad scientists or whatever.
Yeah. And there's always need for people like that because Elon Musk needs to be hiring those people, or NASA needs to be hiring those people to send us to the moon, right?
Yeah.
But in a general job, sometimes it's too out of scope type of thing, right? To build a business, sometimes if you're thinking too narrow like that, you can't actually be a CEO because you're too focused on too small of a problem, right? And so you need every single person has a different role. That's why I'm saying it doesn't matter what your weaknesses are and what your strengths. There's always a room for you in this role to do something impactful. And so everybody has their role.
For sure. Did you have a mentor along the way? Because you're super young.
I didn't have a designated mentor. I'm grateful I met a lot of great people on the way. Good family. My mom was always motivational from a young age, would motivate me to when I was 8, I think she introduced the concept of business. She was like, hey, you have all these toys that you never use. How about I buy them from you and so I can give them to your brother. So she introduced me to this concept of selling stuff I don't want, which translated to a side business when I was in middle school where I would sell MacBooks. I would fix them up and upsell them, basically resell them for a higher markup, right? And then obviously I come, from a background where, Arab American from Syria. There was revolution, it was a whole civil revolution where a lot, millions of people died, or hundreds of thousands of people died, but millions affected and refugees, and they lost everything. And that taught me from a young age, I'm blessed to have what I have because if I had just stayed there for like, if my parents hadn't moved to America, I probably would have nothing right now, right? And so that made me want to help people. And that's the whole concept. Our app, Kadama, we are one of the cheapest tutoring apps ever. We wanted to make it so people who are underprivileged can use us.
Wow.
And those values of business, technology, being able to help people stayed with me the whole time. And mentors like that, those like came up to me. Like the CEO of OfferUp was a mentor. Just good friends, good team. Just people who come in along the way, and they've been helping me out. And so, and now I just try my best to do the same thing. If I see somebody young trying to build something, I try to like repay back, what they did for me.
Yeah, that's cool. How did you mix friendship and business? Because I know your co-founders are also friends. That's a very risky thing to do. How did you pull that off?
Listen, y'all, do not do it. It's hard. I don't know. Me, like my co-founder's right here behind the scenes, Marwan.
Yeah.
He we've been together since 2016.
Wow.
And dude, like we were friends, and then like this was a crazy journey. Cause like, the problem here is when you're friends with somebody, right? It's two stakes, your relationship business-wise and a friendship. And I don't want to bring in names right now, but I've had friends that worked with us where like it just ended up well, and like we just don't talk to this day because it's the type of thing where like you'll take it personally. Some people will take it personally, and there's really not much you can do, because sometimes like in business, like in business, most of the relationships will not work, right? It's
right.
To find another co-founder, it's a hard thing to do, right?
Yeah.
And imagine if it's your friend, because then imagine you both have like different opinions, and then you'll every single day when you'll think about it, because it's real life at that point, right? It's not like, a 9 to 5 you worry about in the office, right? But luckily, me and Marwan, like we've somehow were able to manage those like different differences in opinion, and we learned to respect the difference in opinion, where one person, we could have opposing opinions, right? And then we were like, well, okay, well, when this is always going to happen, right? So let's just approach this always from a data and analytical perspective, and maybe bring in some third parties to come in. So no hard feelings.
Yeah.
Let's just approach this like the right way, right? And obviously here and there we will kind of get mad at each other, but like it doesn't last too long, because at the end of it, we understand that like our intentions originally are pure, and it's just a conflict with business, right? And we know that this is gonna happen to anybody else, so why take it personally?
Yeah.
And obviously my brother, he was a third co-founder, right? And so dealing with that was a bit challenging, but we were able to work it through. He no longer is full time with us, because but we're still on good terms. We were able to resolve our difference in opinions the right way.
Damn, so you took a level further. You brought family in.
Dude, it's hard, dude. This hard as hell, bro.
Yeah.
I don't recommend anybody doing it. But the thing is, there's pros to it. Working with people you've known your whole life could be well, right? It's a risk you take.
Yeah.
And I think overall, like, there's only one person we ended up with bad blood. Everybody else we're still on good terms. So I think I got it easy. But some other people, like, they end like real relationships, like literally siblings, never talk again.
Damn. I mean, dude, it's part of every big company.
Yeah.
Like if you go back to their origin story, there's like, it's popular with Facebook, it's popular with Twitter. It happens. Like people leave the boat early.
Yeah.
It's part of the game. But I like what you said about bringing in third parties and then being straight up analytical about it.
Yeah, it's the only way.
Once there's emotions, it's just a yelling battle at that point.
Data never lies. Imagine we like argued, do we want to build this and build this, right? Okay, cool. We can argue all day who has a better idea, who's a smarter guy in the room, okay? Let's let the customers decide.
Right.
That's who decides who the winner is.
Yeah, numbers don't lie.
Exactly.
So what's next in store for you guys? What are you working on? Where do you want to take this thing?
Right now, we've literally mastered one-on-one tutoring, a social app where we connect human tutors and human students. Right now with AI, there's a huge opportunity. Language learning models where we can actually take what we have right now and scale it way more. So obviously the biggest challenge with having in-person tutors is it costs a bit more money, right, than an AI for a student. So affordability. And to compete, we need to be affordable. But what we can do that big companies like, I'm not gonna name anybody right now. We've been attacked too many times right now. There's a big companies who they can't do what we have in terms of what we have human tutors on board. So we actually are able to train our AI off real conversations. So guess how our AI speaks. So if all of our users are Gen Z, they talk like this. What's goody, bruh? How are you doing? Did you riz up that girl last night?
Yeah.
That's how our AI speaks, because it's trained on millions of conversations. And anytime the AI doesn't know how to do something, it will connect you to a human tutor in real time who's been overseeing the conversation, right? Other companies, there's companies who are like text-based answers, like literally book answers. Like, companies like Check, for example, right? All they have is that database. They don't have human tutors. And so they could only rely on that. So if it gets it wrong, there's not much you can do. For us, you'll have somebody that comes in real time, but it also sounds like a Gen Z because it's trained on that. And that's something that's been doing really, really well. And investors are really excited. We have a lot of investors who have been following our tractions and are really ready to hop on the next round.
Yeah.
But since we turned our company to a profit actually almost a year ago from today, we haven't been stressed like fundraise. We're taking our time, making sure things are going well, and publicly launch it when the time's right.
Yeah. Is B2B part of the goal? Like, do you want to incorporate with schools and colleges down the road?
The biggest disadvantage of B2B is it's much slower to work with. To get a call back, you could wait 30 days, where B2C, within minutes, we can get basically the results that we were looking for of a conversion to pay. Maybe, sure. We've talked with schools and institutions and government-ish, but a lot of times, we're thinking like 5 years ahead of them, and we're trying to be ahead of technology or with technology. A lot of stuff in school, why are they still using Excel 2007 in school? You know what I'm trying to say? It's hard to be, they have guidelines, which makes sense because they want to be able to control what's going on, but it forces us to regress our innovation.
Yeah. And
I don't know if that's the direction we want to go, but maybe there could be a balance online. But right now, B2C is definitely the mission, especially with our Kadama AI. That's going to be in the palms of everybody's hand.
Yeah. What was your least favorite class? What class do you think was pretty useless when you were in school?
Useless or hard?
I'd say useless, like you don't ever use it.
I took a random class on rocks, bro.
Rocks?
Yeah, like how, like it was red and blue, like a heterogeneous rock. I don't know. I don't know anything. I forgot every single thing about that class, to be honest. I literally had my buddies in that class just tell me what's gonna be on the exam, and before the just pop in. It's just I don't even know why I took that class.
That's hilarious. They need to teach more of real world stuff. I did take one class called Family and Child, where they would bring in a bunch of 5 and 6 year olds, and I felt like that was, there's some value there.
Well, you're gonna be a dad one day, hopefully.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought that was decent. I thought cooking was decent, but then there was one called sewing. Who the hell sews anymore?
Maybe some people sew, but cooking makes sense, bro. I feel like I should have taken the cooking class, bro. I only know how to do 2 meals.
I mean, luckily we have money to outsource it, but yeah, for sure. But dude, sewing, I broke the machine first day. She put me in detention for a week, so I couldn't even
because
use
you broke the machine.
Yeah. I mean,
was it intentional? You go throw
no,
it,
I didn't know how to sew. I think I was sick the first day, so when I came in the second day, everyone already learned how to use it. So I just ended up breaking it.
Was this a forced class, or do you by
forced class?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you had to take sewing and cooking in my middle school. It was terrible.
So do you guys have the best cooks coming out of your school?
We must.
Chef Ramsay probably one.
Yeah, Jersey is known for good Italian and Indian, so we got some good chefs over there. But man, it's been fun. What's next for you, and where can people find you?
There's a lot in store across, and I do multiple things across Kadama. There's a lot of new projects coming within there. Kadama AI is going to be big. My personal channel, Amin Shaykho, grew that in a few months to almost 2 million followers across my platform. So if you want to know any life hacks, shopping tips, or anything, follow me there at Amin Shaykho on any platform. But yeah, I'm going to continue to grind. There's a lot in store. Right now, right after this, going to hop onto a meeting and then straight to Miami for some more work there.
Let's get it, Miami, baby. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for coming on, bro. See you next time.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.